she didn't notice him right away. Mornings, for her, were quiet and methodical, a slow awakening, a brief shower, the hiss of the kettle on the stove, and the creak of old floorboards beneath her bare feet as she moved from room to room with the soft slowness of someone who no longer needed to rush. The house was old, lived in, full of corners that carried sound in unexpected ways. She liked that. She liked the way silence stretched between walls and made space for her thoughts to settle. At first, she thought it was her imagination. A faint sound near the front door, a soft pause, like someone stopping mid-step. Then quiet. Then footsteps, fading. She didn't move. Didn't check. Just froze, listening. And when it happened again the next day, the same subtle presence, the same wordless pause, she began to wonder. He came every morning, sometime between 7:20 and 7:30. Never earlier. Never late. A few steps on the porch, then stillness. Then departure. He never knocked. Never rang the bell. He didn't linger. He didn't leave anything behind. But somehow, she could feel it, the weight of him, standing there on the other side of the door, not asking to be let in. By the end of the second week, she knew it wasn't coincidence. It was too exact, too quiet, too deliberate. Not the kind of quiet that hides, but the kind that respects distance. And she didn't feel afraid. She didn't feel intruded upon. What she felt, strangely, was seen. Not watched. Not noticed. But witnessed, gently, patiently, from the other side of a closed space. She never checked the peephole. Never pressed her ear to the wood. That would have broken something. What existed between them, whatever it was, lived within the fact that the door stayed closed. And in that unspoken agreement, she started to find comfort. Some mornings she woke early, just to listen. Just to hear the soft rhythm of his approach. 3 light steps. 1 slight shift. A pause. And then the retreat. She didn't open the door. But she began to wait. Quietly. Without acknowledgement. Just to be there, at the same moment that he was. He never left signs. He never varied the rhythm. But she began to notice her days changed depending on whether she heard him or not. On the few mornings when he didn't come, the silence felt emptier, stretched too wide. She moved slower. The kettle took longer to boil. Everything felt slightly off, like a song playing half a beat behind. Then one Saturday, a day he had never come before, she heard him again. She was sitting on the floor, surrounded by old letters and quiet thoughts, when the porch creaked once. She looked up. He was there. Earlier than usual. Out of rhythm. But very much present. She stood. Walked to the door. Slowly. And stopped, without touching the handle. They were no more than a few feet apart, separated by a single wooden barrier, and yet something in her chest felt exposed, as though he had touched nothing and still reached her. He didn't knock. He didn't speak. But after a few moments, he stepped away, just one careful movement. A retreat without urgency. Like someone who had come only to make sure the door was still there. She stood there long after he had gone. Not waiting. Just remembering that someone had come. After that Saturday, she started listening differently. Before, she had waited for the sound the way you wait for a clock to chime, something steady, familiar, always the same. But now, there was a new thread in it. A pulse beneath the routine. Not louder, not clearer, just closer. Like music you didn't realize you had been hearing until the melody started to feel like your own. He came again on Sunday. Same steps. Same pause. Same gentle silence. And she was already standing near the door when it happened, not by design, but because her body had started moving with his rhythm, without needing to think. She didn't breathe differently. Didn't change her posture. But somewhere deep inside her, something leaned toward the wood, not to reach, not to open, but simply to meet him in the silence. She still didn't know who he was.